So we are here again for round number 3 in our Berlin Intercultural Forum on expatriate lives in Berlin. And together with me on the stage now is again Alexander von Engelhardt, and also back again Keith Tanner, and new on the stage is Anja Gnedig, a good colleague of us and also the ambassador of Internations here in Berlin. How has living in Germany, living in Berlin, affected over the time, affected your view on the German culture?
I had a great chat with Leila just now after the second round, and we realized one thing was missing in the last section, that it takes a long time to make friends, to make acquaintances, but once you make them, you're in for the long term. And you're on a much more transparent level. What is this person thinking? Because this person usually tells you exactly what they're thinking. So you get to a new comfort zone on a totally different level, which can be very valuable.
Since here in Germany, I had to learn one shocking thing that was very well pointed out by Mark Twain, and is saying that this is a land where the girls are neuters and the potatoes feminine. And that was so, yeah. It was so eye-opening for me that I understood the Germans a bit more now. They think in formalities, period. And what goes out of their box is a no-no. It's something they don't really want to work with.
I would like to take also a little professional experience in here from Keith and from Alexander, because both of you are working in very important fields that are very important not only for expatriates, but in particular also for expatriates, that is legal services and financial services. Let's start with the legal side. What is your experience? What advice would you give, or what are the two main advices that you would give to an expatriate on the legal side coming to Germany? What are the most frequent questions that you get?
When can I get my residence permit? And no, a permanent residency is the most question, but the thing I would like to share with the most immediate necessity is when coming to Germany, or especially heading to a German office, is be prepared. That is, have everything at hand that you can instantly produce it, and then have somebody with you that speaks German. Because every German official will gladly retell it to you and instruct you, Paragraph 22 Verwaltungsverfahrensgesetz, die Sprache des deutschen Amtes ist Deutsch. In other words, the language of the German authorities is German, period, no exception, hardly. Even though the Foreigners Office has become a bit more friendly, that some officers, when they're in a good mood, are willing to communicate in English. But when it comes to hard facts, that why your permit is not being extended or not even granted, that will be in German exclusively.
Banking for expatriates. Everyone who has lived abroad and had to open a bank account in a foreign country knows how difficult that is. What would you advise to expatriates in Germany with your bank?
Our concern is money laundering, so we have to be careful what we're doing, and anyone who comes from abroad is automatically considered potentially a money launderer. But it's not that complicated. As long as we've got the residence permit and the Anmeldung, the registration, then normally it works without any major problems. Then moving ahead, once the account is open, we run into the same problem. Deutsch. We do insurances too, and if you do a health insurance, you get 150 pages of small print, and it has to be in German, whether you understand it or not. And so that's an area where I think my expertise is also useful to look at health insurance, liability insurance, pension plans. Again, Berlin can be boring too if I work hard at it, but these are areas which need technical assistance, which you need a certain level of trust, because you're not going to work on those 150 pages of small print on your own. And that's really the area I'm developing now, looking at the specific services which are interesting for the international client. I mean, savings account isn't a savings account. There are two things I need to say about that, which I won't mention now. But there are other frustrations. I had a client from Canada today saying, how do I change the PIN number on my credit card? And the answer is, you can't. Once you know that, you're okay. You don't get frustrated anymore. How long did it take to make a transfer in Brazil? How long did it take when I went there in 1993? Immediate. I booked a flight in Sao Paulo in 1993 and said, the lady on the phone said, transfer the money, I'll send a messenger with the ticket this afternoon. I said, can't do that. And in Germany, you still can't. It still can take 3 days to make a transfer. So I tell people that they know that, and you get through life with 3-day transfers. We didn't need to know about it to avoid these frustrations. I think these little things which you just have to accept, but you can only accept them if somebody tells you about them. And I think that's where we're developing more I have a little information leaflet where I'm developing. I think that's the way ahead, to tell people what the features are so that they can get around them where appropriate.
It's not only expatriates who arrive in Germany who experience some sort of a culture shock and overcome that at some point or not, but it's also Germans who are arriving in Germany. And I think it's an often neglected issue that there are not only expatriates but also ex-expatriates, former expatriates, people who have been abroad and are coming back to their country, in this case Germany, and this is why Anja is sitting here, because she spent some time, extensive time abroad and is now back in Germany. And I think for you it was also some challenge to readjust. I think we are pretty much on the same page here. I could feel that myself. But Anja, what is your experience in that regard, arriving back in Germany and coping with those challenges in your own country?
Mm-hmm. Maybe I should just start with a little summary. So I lived 1 year in the US and 2 years in Ireland, and in between some other 2 years in Germany. The interesting thing is when you integrate in a new culture, you have this culture shock that most people know and heard about, and I think you kind of prepare for that. But what I wasn't prepared is the reculture shock that most of the people haven't heard about. And I have to say, knowing that I'm going to the US, I know things will be different, and I prepared for that, and I expected things to be not like it is in Germany. When I came back to Germany, I thought, okay, now you're left for a year, you're returning, everything will be exactly the same. And it wasn't. Actually, the time that I needed to reintegrate into my own home culture, it took me much longer than actually integrating into the American culture. I struggled very much because, especially because I also see Germans different now. Like when I came here, I was wondering, like, okay, nobody smiles. You come back from America, maybe it's a complete different thing, you know, like the mentality is different. But you come back and you think, okay, Germany is so serious that people don't smile, they're not friendly. What's wrong? And it takes a lot of time to settle, and also to fill the loop when you go again abroad. That the second time you realize there's a learning process already. When you do it the first time, you know, okay, things will be different, it takes some time. When you go abroad to another culture again for the second time, you already know, okay, what is the process you're going through, what to expect, and it makes it much easier. So I can only recommend go a second time to another country.
I've often faced and seen that being an expatriate, coming from some country, being an expatriate, but also being an ex-expatriate, returning into your old workplace, that people often experience that their knowledge of the other culture, that their knowledge, the experience from their time abroad is not as appreciated as they would have expected it, to put it nicely. Do you have any experience in that regard?
I can relate to that. When I came back from abroad, I actually expected it. Everybody wanted to know, how was it? How are the other people? How's the culture? What did you experience? What were your adventures? And I came back, and everybody, it was exactly the same. Everybody had daily life. We spent like very little time on me explaining or talking about what happened, and then everything went back to normal, and people didn't really understand that my mind was somewhere else, or you know, something changed within me. I didn't have the feeling that it was much appreciated when I started comparing always, or let's say more often than before, like, okay, Germans are like this, and America, I experienced this. So you start comparing and also talking about it. I had not the feeling that it was much appreciated if you start relating your experiences and tell people who never left.
Yeah, great question. I agree with it entirely. I have some great stories to tell about my time in Brazil, but nobody wants to hear them. People watch the Auslandsjournal, the television reports on the favelas in Rio. I've been there, I know people there, but nobody listens to when I'm saying that. And I had a great conversation with a colleague the other day talking about a super luxury hotel on the beach in Rio where I had a great story to tell. And when I'd finished, she looked at me and said, I know a very nice bed and breakfast in Mecklenburg-Vorpommern. Where I realized you've got to let both sides speak. And sometimes when we're talking about our great, wonderful experiences, people feel left out or jealous or whatever it is. It's a difficult point. You can really make yourself unpopular if you're not careful.
Well, at least here we were able to listen to your experiences and to benefit from your experiences. And thank you to all of you, to the three of you who are sitting here, and to all the others who were here with us in the previous panels, for just giving us a little insight. And I think what I personally take from this round and this evening is, as always when I do conversations like this, I learn much more about myself and my own culture just by the mirror that you are presenting to us. And maybe we can, just through developing our community here a little bit to networking, and this is what we'll do exactly now after this session, just help developing what I think was unanimously said is the most important here, and that is having a sphere, an atmosphere where people can meet and exchange and kind of feel at home, even if they're abroad, despite and beyond administrative and other little issues. The network is the most important, the people is are most important, and that's why I'm so grateful that you were all here, because we can talk about administration and legal issues and banking, and we will do that here at BAMIC many times, but the most important part of all this are the expatriates themselves. Tonight we had an opportunity to listen to some of them. Thank you to all of you, and I would be very happy if I see one or the other of you later on at the Internations Networking. Thanks for being here, and have a great evening. Bye.